The NFL Draft is in the books, and now it's time to get ready for the start of the 2024 season, just a few months away. On this edition of NFL Daily, we will go over our latest power rankings for all 32 teams from first to worst. We will rank them all for you coming up in just a bit. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for stopping by here on the channel. I want to know, can anyone stop the Kansas City Chiefs this season from a three-peat? Is somebody going to stand in their way? Is Rashee Rice not being there potentially going to be the difference of Kansas City not getting that third straight ring? Let us know what you think. Can anyone stop Kansas City? Y for yes, N for no. Way in the comment section. We'll get started with today's show. Kansas City Chiefs, the two-time defending champs, looking for the fourth ring of the Mahomes era, the third in a row. They're still number one in our power rankings. Even with everything that's going on with Rashee Rice, with what the Chiefs have done this offseason, bringing in the likes of Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, this team has improved. No one has shown why they deserve to be ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs in the power rankings. Somebody's got to take them down to knock them down, and that hasn't happened just yet. The Kansas City Chiefs are still the team to beat. Number two, the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners coming in with revenge. They're trying to figure out what to do with Debo and Ayuk, that whole situation. That's still a very good football team heading into this year. The Niners are still the team to beat in the NFC. They haven't gone anywhere just yet. The Baltimore Ravens went through some massive changes this offseason, losing the likes of Patrick Queen and, among others, Odell Beckham Jr., just to name a few. But they did a pretty good job replacing them. I really love bringing in Derrick Henry. I love the draft pick of Nate Wiggins. The Baltimore Ravens are still hanging around there. They're number 3 on this list. And they are believing that this is the year they can finally get over the hump and beat Kansas City. Number 4, the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, of the 4 teams in the conference championship games in 2023, had by far the weakest defense. They've made some serious investments in their defense. The Lions are a better team than what they were at the end of 2023. Number 5, I think maybe the most improved team in the entire NFL, the Houston Texans, had a lot of momentum at the end of last year, winning their division, winning a playoff game that they weren't favored to win against the Cleveland Browns. And what did they do this offseason? Oh, yeah, bring in guys like Danielle Hunter, not to mention just how well they stacked up C.J. Stroud, another year older, leading the Stroud boys and everything. Stephon Diggs, that trade was fantastic for them. They didn't give up a ton to pull that off. The Houston Texans are a force to be reckoned with a good young core. They're not going anywhere, folks. 6, the Philadelphia Eagles. They had some surprises, losing some of their key players, but they did a good job reloading things of sorts. And I think they've kind of hit the reset button, if you will. After a disappointing finish, we saw at one point this year the Eagles were the best team in the NFL. I think Jalen Hurts wasn't healthy for most of last year. He should be on the right track. Philadelphia ought to be the favorites in their division. They're number 6 on our list. Number 7, the Cincinnati Bengals. I got to tell you, I really like the Cincinnati Bengals. They seem to have worked things out with T. Higgins for now. I would guess that T. Higgins is back this year, but not beyond this year. And you get Joe Burrow back from injury. He's already practicing. He should be 100% healthy. If you get a healthy Joe Burrow, okay, then the Bengals are going to be right up there among the best in the AFC. They will be back, and you got some other talented players on the defensive side of the ball. Cincinnati, I think, is going to be one of the most improved teams in the league this year. How about the Cheeseheads? The Green Bay Packers come in number 8 on our list. I loved adding Josh Jacobs. Jordan Love, another year older. He should continue to improve. That defense was atrocious last year. They've made some investments in that defense. I think the Packers are going to take another step forward in 2024. The Miami Dolphins, number 9 on our list. The Dolphins, Tua's back. Should be another year better. Tyreek Hill coming off a fantastic season. I think the Dolphins are still a very decent football team. I think they'll be the favorites in that division. I like them more than I do Buffalo. We'll get to Buffalo in a bit. But first, the Dallas Cowboys. They told us they were all in this offseason. Right. Sure. They lost 5 starters on the offense. You still got CD. You still got Dak and Micah. Just by having those guys is going to make you a competitive football team. But even with losing in the divisional round last year, they've gotten worse. So much for being all in, right? Cowboys still are a very good football team, but they're not as good as what they could have been if Jerry Jones and company would have done what they should have this offseason. Is this the year? Is this the year the Dallas Cowboys break through and get to the NFC Championship game? Type HY for hell yes. HN for hell no. I feel like we're going to get some pretty good responses on this. Are you all in on them boys? Let me know in the chat. HY for hell yes. HN for hell no. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether it's fantasy points, maybe it's rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, maybe it's home runs in baseball. I'm looking ahead to the start of the NFL season. I got DK Metcalf to have more than 1,025.5 receiving yards. I got Lamar Jackson to have a Lamarvelous year with more than 3,600.5 passing yards. If I put $20 down and this hits, it turns into $60 on Prize Picks. Play along with me. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to take a significant step back in 2024. I'm very concerned. You lose Diggs. You lose Jordan Poyer. I don't like what the Buffalo Bills did this year. And now Josh Allen is a very rich man. I think that's going to affect the rest of this team. I think the Bills take a step back. That's why they're number 11 on this list. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they've had a very fun offseason. It's been a very good run for Omar Khan with the decisions he's made. The con man has. And the quarterback position, we'll see what version of Russ they get. If Russ doesn't get the job done, how soon do they give Justin Fields a chance? That remains to be seen. But either way, I mean, the Steelers won a lot of football games with Kenny Pickett last year. You would think quarterback play should improve for Pittsburgh. 13, we find the Atlanta Falcons. I know we all laughed at them for paying Cousins all that money and then drafting Michael Penix. But don't let that fool you that the Falcons still had a very good offseason this year with the moves that they made to pay Cousins, bringing in Rondell Moore, and among other guys here. I like this Falcons team with Kyle Pitts and company. Falcons are going to be the favorites in the NFC South, and I think they're a contender in the NFC. The Los Angeles Rams, they lose Aaron Donald to retirement. But that doesn't mean that the Rams are going to be a bad football team by any stretch of the imagination. I think the Rams, if they stay healthy, if Stafford and Kupp and company can do their thing, watch out for Los Angeles to be in the upper half in the league. At 15, the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have a very good defense, maybe the best defense in the NFL. But it's their quarterback. Deshaun Watson hasn't been able to put it together. I am concerned. What version of Deshaun Watson are we going to see in 2024? I got them 15. I think they're a borderline playoff team. At 16, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Year number 2 for Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay. Can he take another step forward, or will he take a step backward? Losing Dave Canales, his OC, to Carolina to be their head coach. I think Tampa Bay is a big mystery. They could win 10, 11 games and look like the team that we saw at the end of last year, or things could fall apart. Also, what about Mike Evans? What about Chris Godwin? Are those guys going to slow down? We shall see there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A great unknown, and I'm not totally sold on Todd Bowles either, their head coach. At 17, the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks were a 9-8 team the last 2 seasons, and Pete Carroll was let go in large part because that team underachieved. They had the talent. They should have been a playoff team last year. Mike McDonald comes in, a new mentality. That defense should be greatly improved. I love the draft pick of Byron Murphy and Christian Haynes. The linebacker room, although you lost Jordan Brooks and Bobby Wagner, they put a new emphasis on coverage linebackers with Dodson and Baker. I think the Seahawks could potentially surprise some folks. 18, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I want to believe in the Jags. I want to believe that this is the year that Trevor Lawrence breaks through and takes that next step to become a top 5 quarterback. But I haven't seen it. I haven't seen them put it together just yet. There's work to be done in Jacksonville. We'll see if they can take that next step or not. The Chicago Bears. I'm excited about the Bears. I don't like that coaching staff with Eberflus and Shane Waldron. I don't feel great about that staff, but I like the talent. I think Caleb is going to have a fantastic rookie season. Keenan Allen was a great addition. Already had DJ Moore there. You bring in Rome Odunze. That's going to be one of, if not the best receiving corps in football. That offense is going to be a lot of fun. They can put up points. The defense, a little skeptical about, but the Bears are on the up and up. At 20, the New York Jets. And for some people, this is going to be a little low. But I feel like the Jets need to prove it. I need to see more out of the New York Jets. First off, how's Rodgers going to look coming off the Achilles injury? Right? A team that hasn't been to the playoffs since Mark Sanchez was there. They got something to prove. They got to put it all together. Does Quinnen Williams put the defense on his back? And do they win football games with that defense like they did a couple years ago? Is Robert Saleh the right man for the job? Jury's still out on him as well. The Jets, I'm not jumping on the bandwagon yet till they prove it themselves. Do you believe in the New York Jets? Fireman Ed and company, do you believe in everything with that team? Type B for believe, D for don't. Let me know if you are in on the Jets. The Colts overachieved last year to get to 9 wins, almost won that division, did so with a backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew. Now they get Anthony Richardson back. I like the draft pick of Adonai Mitchell to that receiving core, but I think the Colts also benefited from an easy schedule to an extent as well. I'm not saying the Colts are going to be a bad team, but I think we need to temper expectations that they were ahead of schedule a bit last year, that they come back down to earth of sorts. I got them 21. 22, the LA Chargers. I got to say, credit where credit's due. They moved some things around. The fact that even though they were in salary cap hell and still were able to bring back Khalil Mack and Bosa was a big deal for the Chargers. I think it's a significant upgrade with the head coach, going from Staley to Jim Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh is going to do a fantastic job. Can Justin Herbert stay healthy? Who's he going to throw the football to? They lost a bunch of receivers. Chargers, going to be fun to watch in 2024. The Minnesota Vikings. Will they start Darnold? Will they start J.J. McCarthy? How's that situation going to unfold with the Minnesota Vikings? You lose guys like Danielle Hunter and company. I think this is a rebuilding year for the Minnesota Vikings. Don't expect them to be a playoff caliber team. The Raiders come in 24 on our list. Raiders made some big splashes. I love the Brock Bowers pick. Him and Mayer side by side running 12 personnel. That's going to be great. You still have Devontae Adams there. You still have Max Crosby. You bring in Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins. That's going to be an improved team. They have some very good players at certain spots, but they got some obvious weaknesses too. Is it Minshew at quarterback? Is it Aiden O'Connell? You can never trust somebody named AOC. I have some concerns about the Raiders, but I do like what they've done. 25, the Commanders. I like what the Commanders have done. Bringing in the likes of Bobby Wagner and a new quarterback and Jalen Daniels. I think they've made some right decisions, but they still have a ways to go. And Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, I like that combination there for their coaching staff there in Washington. 26, the Arizona Cardinals. Had a sneaky good finish to 2023. Kyler Murray should be fully healthy now. They had a very good draft. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a difference maker at the receiver position, but they still have a ways to go. 27, the New Orleans Saints. I think the Saints are going to be a disaster this year. I don't like that coaching staff at all. I don't like Derek Carr at all. That defense isn't going to be that great. The Saints, they're about to tear everything down. And their salary cap position is a nightmare as well. The Saints got a lot of problems right now that they're dealing with. It ain't going to be pretty. 28, the New York Giants. Man, you're having to depend on Daniel Jones. Didn't we see how that worked out last year? It wasn't pretty. And you lose Saquon Barkley. Saquon, I think that's going to hurt not having him around on this team. Giants got some issues to deal with. I think this call comes crashing down for the Giants this year. 29, the Tennessee Titans. Titans are confusing because they've paid for money for guys like Tony Pollard. And you bring back Will Levis for his second year. Like, they're spending money. Just the other day, they got Tyler Boyd. But they're still not good there. and you got a first-year head coach, Brian Callahan, coming in from the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not feeling great about the Tennessee Titans. I got them 29. We'll get to the final three teams on our list, but first, who is the worst team in the NFL? Let us know in the comments section. Who do you think the worst team is? Chime in. At 30, we find the Denver Broncos. And the only reason why they're not 32, even though the team is just a mess, they still have some talented players for now, like Cortland Sutton is still there, among others on that team. But who's playing quarterback? Are you going with Bo Nix? Really? Is that how things are going to go? Broncos got some problems. All that money they're paying to Russ, they didn't really get to do much. They lost Jerry Jeudy. Broncos are going to be a mess. 31, the Carolina Panthers. Didn't really improve that much. I like the coaching hire, Dave Canales. What's Bryce Young going to be in 2024? I don't know if he takes that next step or not. They don't have much talent around him. Carolina, they ain't good. Last on this list is the New England Patriots. I like Drake May, but who is he throwing the ball to? That receiving core is cheeks. The running game, Stevenson had problems staying healthy. The defense, sounds like they're shopping Matthew Judon. I don't know if he's coming back or not. You do get Christian Gonzalez back from injury. I think he's going to have a really good year too. But the cupboards are bare in New England. Gerard Mayo's walking into an awful situation there. The New England Patriots, for some folks, it's refreshing to see the Patriots as the number 32 worst team in the league. But it is not going to be fun in New England this year. I can tell you that much right now. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of NFL Daily. You can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Tyler Jones Live. That's where you can find me there. And I will see you next time here on NFL Daily. Thanks for joining us.